Rajapaksas preparing to commit political harakiri. Wijayadasa wields sword. Wave of strikes by NPP to up the tempo. Discards plot and fire. Colombo minister becomes independent.
The leader, දේශයට මග කියන ප්‍රවෘත්ති පෙළගැස්ම.
Rajapaksas preparing to commit political harakiri. After numerous short-lived topics, election talk is again becoming the hit. The Leader TV broke the news about the meeting between President Ranil Wickremesinghe and SLPP strategist Basil Rajapaksa on the 9th. It was their 6th meeting since the latter arrived from the United States. Also present were Nimal Siripala, Mahinda Amarawira, Mahindananda Aluthgamage, Wajira Abewadena, Prasanna Ranatunga, Tiran Alice, Sagala Ratnayake, and Ruwan Wijayadasa. Despite an invitation, Nimal Lanza refused to attend, saying he had nothing to do with Basil. The SLPP founder started proceedings with his mantra that holding a snap general election would be advantageous to both Ranil and the government. Opponents of the idea, who spoke up previously whenever it was brought up, were dead silent this time. Ranil replied that he was yet to take a final decision. Several told him to announce his candidature at least now. He said that would be done around mid-June. Looks like he has no intention of going for parliamentary polls first. On the following day, Basil opened the SLPP's Election Operations Centre. There he told the media that they were prepared to ally or break up with just anyone for the country's sake. The Election Commission has announced the presidential election would take place on a date between September 17th and October 16th. Basil has decided to go public with their candidate in line with Ranil's decision, but Nimal Rajapaksa and his followers insist they need the party to field its own candidate. Last Friday afternoon, Nimal met his associates at his residence in Malalasekara, Mawatha. Nimal remarked that at this rate, Mahinda's policies will be ignored. What Ranil does is totally against our policies. He will sell all state assets. We cannot agree to that. I told Minister Basil about that, he said. Going on, he said he got entrepreneur Damika Pereira too to agree with their stand. He will soon make a statement against privatising state properties, he said. On my proposal, a statement signed by President Mahinda will be released on Sunday, Nimal added. That statement reached the media by the afternoon. Some carried it with a claim that it is Mahinda's final warning to Ranil. In that statement, Mahinda said no state property was divested during his 10-year rule, while those privatised were taken over again. Hasty divestiture by this government tasked with completing Gotabaya's term cannot be approved. It should be halted until after the presidential election, Mahinda observed. Social media posts question if he forgets the incumbent government is by his own SLPP. Looks like he tries to prevent people from leaving them and joining the NPP, according to these posts. In the meantime, SLPP politicians devoted to Ranil are making their separate plans. On the 16th, Kanchana Wijesekara will bring Ranil on stage in Matara, at the same place where the NPP held its May Day rally. Kanchana intends to bring a crowd of more than 100,000. It is rumoured that Ranil is going to declare his presidential bid at this rally. There is speculation that a female relative of a former senior minister in Matara will go on stage with Ranil. Anyway, it is crystal clear that the SLPP is going from bad to worse over the election matter. Nimal, together with Mahinda, is trying to promote the same old bankrupt economic version. So critics say the Rajapaksas do not have an existence now. Maybe they are preparing for political suicide. Wijayadasa wields sword. Justice Minister Wijayadasa Rajapaksa is wielding the sword against the Nimal Siripala faction, saying he is the chairman of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party now. Rejecting the injunction, he insists on his readiness to face any election. The Sirisena faction held an executive committee meeting in Kota and appointed Wijayadasa as the new party chief. Wijayadasa says his appointment is legitimate, and the injunction is only against his acting chairmanship. Sirisena will be the patron, and Kirthi Udawata is the acting General Secretary, since an injunction prevents Dushyantha Mitrapala from acting in that capacity. Other party appointments will be made in due course, he added. Meanwhile, Mahinda Amarawira believes Maithripala Sirisena has put the final nail in the SLFP coffin. The minister says he believes the new appointment to be an after-lunch decision, which is also in contempt of court. Wijayadasa had been saying he will contest only if Ranil doesn't. Now it has changed. He maintains he will contest with or without the hand symbol. Wijayadasa was also brought up at the talks between Ranil and Basil last Thursday. Ministers told Ranil to expel that nuisance too, recalling how Roshan Ranasinghe was sacked. Ranil told them not to become worried. He is waiting for me to sack him. I want a few things done by him. I will take care of him. Some say Ranil wants Wijayadasa, Damika, Roshan, Dayasiri and et al. To contest, but others are quite bewildered as to what he is doing. UMP old-timers say only Ranil knows what he does. Wave of strikes by NPP to up the tempo. It is said that the JVP-led National People's Power remains stagnant now, but some say it is preparing for a series of countrywide protests when the election gets much closer. Last week, it decided to fight against the proposed Electricity Act. At a media briefing on Thursday, Sunil Handanetti and NPP union affiliates registered their opposition to the bill. The Ceylon Electricity Board is bound by the law to the PUCSL to represent the people on the matter of tariffs. This sudden act has been introduced without any request by the people or unions for a blanket market for electricity, he said. This is a warning that an electricity strike led by the NPP is on the cards. For his part, opposition leader Sajith Premadasa is fighting to consolidate himself at the grassroots level. His SJB won the Welimada Udapalatha cooperative election, with 89 of the 97 members coming from that party unanimously. Also, at the Agrarians Conference in Ampara, 2 UNP and SLFP strongmen went on SJB stage. These days, Sajith tries to thwart Ranil's attempts to lure his MPs to the UNP. Stressing that his MPs cannot be bought over unlike those in other parties, he vows to defeat the corrupt politics that offer various privileges and gratifications. He was speaking at a smart classroom handover in Monaragala. Sajith has always been harbouring a Ranil phobia, and it looks like the worry lines on his forehead could get worse very soon. Discards, plot and fire. First salvo secretly Wimal Weerawansa and Udaya Gamampila are minding their own business nowadays, but continue with minor experimentations on the sidelines. A monk from a Colombo temple is the mastermind behind their latest, with the ex-General Secretary of the Hand Party and some of its deserters who joined the SLPP and then became independent involved as well. Their plan is to bring in a new People's Council and a new leader. That leader is to be found from the outside. They fired the first salvo secretly last week. A lot of things can be seen very soon. Colombo minister becomes independent. This story is about a person who is a powerful minister who also holds post at Diawana. Unlike in the past, he was not seen at the May Day stage this time. His friends went to him and inquired about his non-appearance. He replied that none of the parties invited him and he stayed at home. Elected from Colombo, he is now a worried one. The cure for the worries of their ilk is power. Those who are ministers dream of becoming the president. They get their fortunes read to find out if they have Raja Yoga. They plot and play games quite unheard of in the past. But none seem worried by the fact that the people have the power to decide and that the economic crisis and Aragayala had changed the course of politics upside down. They may learn a good lesson at the next election if they continue with their old tricks. That's it for today.